If I had to sum up attraction in a single word, it would be investment. We are mostly attracted to our own investment. The harder we work at something, the more we care about that thing. I like giving the example of a puppy. If I put a puppy in your hand and then take it away, it doesn't really mean anything. If I give you a puppy and say, look after it for 3 months and then I take it away, suddenly we have a problem. Suddenly it's like, but this puppy, I fall in love with it. What do we mean by falling in love? What we mean is you looked after it for 3 months and you care about it. We care about the things that we look after. We don't tend to care as much about the things that look after us. That means if you want somebody to fall in love with you, you really want them to want to invest in you. And this is again more evidence that we don't want people to do things because they feel they should. We want people to want to do it. So triggering investment is one of the biggest ways to trigger attraction. And investment is going to come from us having holes that somebody else can fill, from us not being perfect, having some flaws where someone can be like, wow, I can see how I can add value to your life. And they want to because of all the qualities of attraction we spoke about a moment ago. You're fun, you're social, you're a leader, you're doing all these awesome things, but maybe you're eating terrible food because you can't cook. Or maybe after all that's said and done, you're lonely because you're too busy helping everyone else that you don't have time yourself. Or maybe you don't have anybody that likes and nerds out over the same comic books that you do. And that's when somebody else can find a way to fit into your life. And when they do, you've got to let them invest. You've got to let them put that time in. And that's why a lot of people push people away, because they make themselves so available that the other person doesn't need to put the time in. If you're constantly sending text messages to somebody and chasing them and contacting them, you never give them a chance to reach out to you, so they don't get to be invested and they don't like you. And this is why you've got to temper how much you communicate with people. You really, when you first meet somebody, you don't want to overwhelm them, but at the same time, you don't want to ignore them. So this is why I like having a healthy social life with a lot of people in it. And I will have lots of different interactions with people that I consider friends, and I look for the friends that start investing in me as a sign that they're attracted. And this is why it's so important to look for the signs of attraction long before we even think about getting into a relationship. Psychologists have shown time and time again, you are more likely to end up in a relationship with somebody who is at least showing you a sign they want to have a relationship, rather than trying to force it on someone who's maybe not interested. If someone's already in a healthy relationship, or already busy doing their own life and doing what they want, they're not going to want to have a relationship with you. And no amount of bribing, coercing, threatening, or anything is going to make that happen. And if you do succeed, that's not really what you want. It's much healthier to have a bunch of relationships with friends and then see the ones who are investing in you. And anyone who's willing to invest is also probably willing to keep investing. If they're willing to keep investing, then they're likely to have a relationship with you. And all you have to do is make sure you start investing in them as well, and that relationship will develop perfectly. But don't invest so much that they don't have to invest anymore, because that will kill the relationship. This is why you see a lot of those angry guys online that are like, I would do anything for you, and then you don't want to have sex with me? Well, then fuck you. They're investing so much, the other person doesn't have to. And that's why the other person gets upset. They're like, I thought you were doing all these nice things for me. Why are you being mean now? Because they didn't invest, so they don't feel the affection. But the person who's doing everything and chasing after this person and trying to do everything for them to make their life perfect isn't allowing the person they're trying to attract the time to invest, so it doesn't actually form a real relationship.
What if a woman tries to get you to invest in her?
If a woman tries to get you to invest in her, that's absolutely fine, because that's her investing a little bit, but you don't want to ever invest more than they invest. In general, in any relationship, do not invest more than the other person. So if I've got a friend who's a guy or a girl, it makes no difference, and that friend is trying to get me to do things for them, but they don't do anything for me, that's not a healthy relationship. That's someone who's trying to take and not give. I develop relationships with people who invest in me, and then I invest in them as well. And we invest equally. During our trip to Vegas, we went to LA and we filmed an entire thing for our business. The day before, we had a photographer come out who was a best friend of my girlfriend's, and we sat and did an entire photo shoot for my girlfriend. I looked after the kid, I looked after the cars and made sure everything was okay, and helped her do the photo shoot that my girlfriend wanted to do. I invested in something she cared about. She invested in something I care about. We invest in each other. If a girl tries to get you to invest in her, that won't make her like you. it will make you like her. So you only want to invest in people that are willing to invest in you. And also, that doesn't mean they're going to date you just because they start investing in you or because they ask you to invest in them. That's the mistake that people make. So for example, a lot of people complain about being stuck in the friend zone. I love the friend zone. I'm going to teach you guys about the friend zone. You want to be in the friend zone. Friend zone's great. Friend zone's the best place to be. But don't assume that just because you're in the friend zone that it's going to turn to sex. But likewise, don't act like you're dating if you're in the friend zone. So if I'm friends with a girl and we're not dating, then I make it clear that I fully expect her, if I'm single, to help me find someone to date. And if she's like, oh no, I can't do that because I think of you in a different way to that, I'm like, well then, this doesn't make sense to me because on one hand, you don't want to date me, and on the other hand, you say you're my friend, but at the same time, you won't help me date anyone. That's not really a good friendship. There's nothing healthy about this. I don't want that kind of friend. But I tend to find that if a girl is willing to be my friend, she's willing to help me meet somebody. And more often than not, if a girl is willing to be my friend, she's usually willing to invest in me and date me. The problem comes with guys that pretend to be a girl's friend and then try and do so much for her, hoping that she'll start dating him. That doesn't work. Or vice versa. I've seen it the other way around as well. That's not how you do it. You have to have equal investment to generate a relationship. Make sense? So if someone's trying to manipulate you into investing in them, then that's not a healthy relationship at all. You don't want to be in that relationship. And often you'll find if you pull back, they'll invest anyway, and then they'll stop trying to make you invest, and then you can start investing. Got it? Casinos know this. The reason people get addicted to gambling, they're not actually addicted to gambling. They're addicted to chasing the money they lost. They're addicted to their own investment. They want back that which they put in. And that's because that's how human beings operate.
That's how cults work too.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. We always chase the things that we put effort into. Cool? So what are the signs of attraction? Really, it's the sign of anyone investing in you when they shouldn't. I often think of it like this. If I tell a bad joke and someone laughs, I know they like me. I was actually at a dinner with some family friends of ours and my girlfriend, and there was a teenager there. It was like a 19-year-old girl. And the family were talking about her, and they were like, yeah, she's kind of despondent, doesn't really care about anything. She's always like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. And I start telling really bad jokes to everybody. And she's the loudest one laughing. And her family look at her and go, oh my God, you never laugh at my bad jokes. And she goes, well, you're not funny. And I look at my girlfriend, I pull her to one side, and I'm like, this girl's got a huge crush on me. And she's like, how do you know? I was like, because I'm saying terrible jokes. And we've already heard from the family this girl doesn't laugh at her dad's bad jokes. And yet here she is, laughing her head off at the stupidest jokes I've ever told. I was like, some of them are legitimately not funny. I'm making some of them up just to see if she'll laugh, and she's laughing. Because that's a sign of attraction. She's investing in me. She wants me to think that she finds me funny. Not that I'm going to do anything with a 19-year-old girl. It's just funny to spot and to be able to see what a sign of attraction looks like. Also to know to keep distance. Like I purposely did not hang out with that girl because I knew she had a crush. So that tool can be used both ways. But you're looking for signs of investment. It can be physical investment. If somebody reaches out and does nice things for you, touches you, helps you, then it's a sign they're investing in you. And these are all signs that someone's interested in doing something with you, or at least starting down that route. Any questions so far about investment or the signs of attraction or anything?
I guess one is, what if there's something that one person kind of considers an investment, but the other person may not?
It's irrelevant what the other person thinks.
Okay.
You're only attracted to your own investment.
Okay.
They're only attracted to their own investment. People's perception of what that is doesn't change anything.
So, like, if you're spending time with someone, would they normally consider spending time with you to be an investment?
It depends on the person.
Okay.
It's what they consider.
So I guess the question is, how can you tell which things the other person thinks of as investments?
You can't. It's internal and it doesn't matter.
Okay.
The only thing that matters is if you notice the other person is investing and you can see that they're continuing to invest for no good reason. That's the key. It's when they're doing it and it doesn't make sense to you. And that's always the thing in my head. I'm like, why is this person doing this? Like when somebody randomly decides to show up at your house and cook you a dinner when you're sick. You're like, this is weird. It's not weird, it's investment. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for those weird signs. And they start very simple. If I'm in a bar and there's a bunch of strangers and one stranger looks at me and smiles, that's investment. I'm like, wow, that's strange. This one person has decided to look at me and smile. No one else in the bar is. This one person is. That's probably the person that's interested in me. If I go to 10 bars and that happens 10 times, I now have 10 people interested in investing in me. And if I invite all of them to my social event that I lead, I've now got 10 people competing over me. They're not actually competing over me. We're not at that point yet. But I've got 10 people willing to invest in me who will all invest in me. That's a great room to be in. And even though the 10 bars, only one person in the room even cared who I was, now the one movie theater has 10 people who all care about me. And that's the key to being good at this. It's to identify the people in large who are interested in you and bringing them together to your social life so that you have a life filled with people that like you and that you like.
So in terms of attraction, like what are the things that trigger investment?
Well, those 10 qualities we spoke about earlier, they're going to trigger investment. If you're groomed well and you've got a good physique and you've got a good social life and you're leading and you're funny and you're experienced and you're comfortable talking about sex, these are things that naturally draw people in. And then if you use that to bring people to a social event where they're all hanging out with you, you're going to see a lot of investment start to develop. And if you get yourself in the friend zone, you can talk to your friend who's a girl and say, hey, help me. Like, let's go out to a bar together and help me meet some people. And do the same for her. Help her meet people as well. So it's not about I'm going to use this technique and that girl's going to invest in me, or I'm going to use this trick. It's I'm going to become so awesome that people are naturally going to want to invest in me.
And that's basically because of the social nature of humans, that naturally we're drawn to people who are good at being social creatures, and if we associate with those who are socially more successful than us, our survival chances improve from a really long view.
Exactly, yeah. If I'm into comic books and I go to Comic-Con, and at Comic-Con I meet, over the course of 4 days, I meet 5 people. Out of 300 people that I meet, 5 of them who are just a little bit friendlier and a little bit nicer to me. And then next year, I invite all 5 people back to Comic-Con, and we're going to have a catch-up and a meet-up, and we're all going to hang out. That first year was okay. That second year is going to be epic. The third year, if I organize an after party, and I bring the 5 people, and they all met 5 people, and so now I've got 25 people all coming to my after party, I'm running one of the best after parties at Comic-Con within 3 years. Now that's a really long period of time, and it's also a really obscure hobby. But if you exchange that and do it monthly and do it at the hottest nightclub in your town, within 3 months, you're running one of the hottest tables at the hottest nightclub in town. It's very, very easy to develop. It takes time, but it takes time because people have to repeatedly do the thing. That's the only reason it takes time. It can be 3 days in a row, but most people's lives don't really tend to work that way. So it's better to be 3 weeks in a row, 3 months in a row, 3 years in a row, because they're the cycles that human beings tend to operate in. Every year, I go to a gaming convention in August in Indianapolis. Yeah, I go to Gen Con every single year. And at Gen Con, I meet up with the same friends. Every single year at Gen Con, I say hi to the same people. So
I've decided I'm going to start going to Dragon Con more regularly.
Brilliant. In Atlanta, yeah.
Dragon Con's in Atlanta, and I went last year. I've already got my tickets for this year.
Yeah, it's great. And
we've also got MomoCon.
And if you start organizing an after party at Dragon Con every year, everyone you meet, you invite to it, it's going to be an epic event.